To make a robot move, you need to be working with one of the motor blocks. Now, in the green category here of your block selection, you have 4 to pick from. The first is called a medium motor. This will be handy if you were doing something like a forklift, but we're not concerned with that right now. We're only using the large motors to turn the wheel, so there are 3 to pick from. The first one is a single motor. So if I were to drag and drop that out, you can see that I can select one of the 4 motor ports. By default, it selects B. If you're not sure which ones motors are, which ports they're on, you can actually see them down here in your status window. I could, of course, change that port to whatever it is that I'd like. Then next to the actual little picture of the motor, I can choose what mode it's in. Now, the mode is how the actual motor is responding. So, for example, if I were to open up the mode screen, you can see that it could be selected to rotations. If I wanted to have it on for a certain amount of time, if I want to have it on for a certain amount of degrees, if I want to have it on all the time, or if I want to turn the motor off. Down here, you have your parameters to pick from. So this is the first one with the little speedometer is the amount of power. So right now it's set to 50% power. Then if I'm in rotations mode, you'll see that I have a spot to type in the amount of rotations I want the motor to turn for. And then I have what to do at the end. So for example, by default, it is set to brake. Or you can say coast, as if you were on a bicycle and you kind of are coasting down a hill. Now, the next motor block is the 2-motor steering block. So if I drag that out, you'll notice that it has 2 different ports selected. So by default, it's B and C. The other parameters are almost the same, except for the steering parameter. If I click on this, I can actually determine whether I want to turn, say, left in negative degrees or right in positive degrees. And you can notice that the parameter icon actually changes as I drag this slider. You can also click on this little icon here if you want to type in a specific unit or a specific value if you knew what you were going for instead of dragging the slider around. And then lastly, you have the move tank block. Now, the motor tank block is similar to the motor steering block, but instead of having both motors, say, turned on in the forward direction, it allows you to actually have one motor turned on in the reverse direction and one on the forward direction. This allows you to turn kind of like a tank or like tank tracks if you want to have a tighter turn radius. And you can see that here, essentially the power, I can actually go forward or reverse. So you'll notice that I can go negative. So in this scenario, the left motor will be going backwards when the right motor will be moving forwards.